Hey there! Today we will be talking about a fascinating fountain pen, the Parker 51 Demi. I have already reviewed 51 pens, but the Demi, as you can see here, is quite a bit smaller than the regular 51s, but it has the same girth, so it's just the length that's a little less pronounced. And as I understand it, the Demi is actually very fascinating. It started production at the end of the 1940s, and as I understand it, this was the first pen that actually had this aromatic filling system. Before that, there was vacuumatic filling systems on both the 51 and the full-size 51 and the Demi, and this one actually has this aromatic filling system. I'll come back to that in a second. So, let's cover the parts of the pen. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Starting with the finial, you have something referred to as the diamond by many people, although Peter Twiddle in his book Fountain Pen says that he has never heard that term used in any Parker official context. So I always find that fascinating. It looks quite nice, has a nice bit of a twirl to it. Then you have the Parker clip. As I understand it, the Parker clip was, this arrow clip was introduced with the 51 model. So before that, Parker didn't do that. Then you have the word Parker engraved on there, as well as made in USA on the back. This is a burgundy barrel with a little hole there to make sure it doesn't draw a vacuum. And this actually has an engraving on it, Eula M. Edwards. Okay, the nib, as we know from the 51 model, is hooded. You love it or you don't. So that's pretty much what you get. And when you unscrew the barrel, you get this aromatic converter, which is, I think, a little bit different from the full-sized 51. Let me just pull that out. Yeah, this is the full-sized aromatic filler, and the Demi's looks a little bit differently. Works the same way. You squeeze this, you put in the bottle of ink, you squeeze this bar, the sac compresses, you let go of the bar, it draws up ink. You do that, I think, 3 or 4 times. It actually has instructions on it to fill. Press rib bar 4 times, wipe front end pen point down with soft tissue. Use dry writing superchrome ink. And then the Parker Penchrome made in the USA. It also says Parker 51. And if I understand correctly, these pens were supposed to be used with superchrome ink, which required the use of a special type of material for the sac, ply glass, so that the sac would actually not deteriorate, because that ink could be considered, well, let's say the Bay State blue of its time. So it had a reputation for being a little difficult in its properties. What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, there are lovers and haters when it comes to the Parker 51 model, and to be honest, I've never been a huge fan. I understand that the pen is iconic. I understand that it's very different from all the pens that came before it. I understand how revolutionary a concept it was. I understand all of those things, but I just don't like it. You can say something similar about Picasso. Picasso was a painter who did things that were radically different from everything that had led up to that point, but that doesn't mean I automatically like his work. Picasso paintings don't do anything for me. In the same way, a Parker 51 doesn't really do much for me, even though I can appreciate the whole history, etc. As to the Demi, it has a cute size. It was supposed to be a bit of a lady's pen, and it is a bit shorter. It is easy to hold and use. It has a fine, very hard nib. That was as it was supposed to be. It was developed that way. And you either love it or you don't. Same thing goes for hooded nibs. Some people like them. Personally, I prefer to see the nib, but some people love this. It is a gold nib, though. So things I like about it and things I don't like about it. It's a decent pen. It's going to write well. It's going to give you a nice fine line. That's a good thing. And these are very collectible because they're a bit shorter. They're fun. A lot of people collect 51s or 51 Demis or both. So that's it. Now let's take a couple of measurements. Length, I have capped, getting the jewel in there, 4.99 inches, that is 126.7 millimeters. Uncapped, I have 117.8 millimeters, that is 4.63 inches. And because this is a somewhat smaller pen, let me also take a measurement posted. 5.54 inches or 140.8 millimeters. Section diameter at the narrowest point, you can't really hold it there, it's 6.8 millimeters or 0.26 of an inch. And all the way at the bottom right above this ring, 0.39 of an inch or 10.1 millimeters. Okay, let's take a measurement of its weight, capping it, putting it on the scale. It is inked up. I have 18 grams, so it's not a super heavy pen. And that's all there's to it. I think we need to see this pen in action. That's what we're going to do next. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Okay, so here we go with a Parker 51 Demi. Is that Demi more? No, that is not Demi more. Wait a minute. Demi, and the nib is a fine, and the ink is Diamine. Not Samson, Damson. Alright. The nib gives some feedback, and the nib is quite hard, as we are used to with 51s, but it's relatively nice writing. Bit of fast writing. As you can see, no skipping, no skidding. It's a very clean writing line. Now, as to wetness, I think this is a relatively fast drying ink, so that distorts the image a bit, but it's not exactly a gusher. As to line variation, as I said, a very hard nib. That's what the Parkers are kind of known for, I think, these 51s. So you can't really get a lot of line variation out. Reverse writing, for those of you who enjoy that, very scratchy, very unpleasant, and it runs dry, so I wouldn't recommend that. And that's pretty much all there's to it. Guys, I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Sound test. La 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 la. Are you going to kill me?